Hey, this is Mars. We're glad you're here. This is our first Twitter Spaces YouTube. Hey, we've been on Twitter for a couple of months now. We have spaces every day about AI art. 7 a.m. CST, Monday through Friday. Without fail, we'll be there. Come check us out at aiarttoday.com and you can find out all the links. Yeah, I know it's Twitter, but just come on over. It's all about AI art news, AI art artists. Oh, hey, shout out to Andre, HDR Hunter, my co-host, my other co-host, John Barrymore. Let's go.
Hello, this is your host, Mars Eve. Welcome to AI Art Today. Excuse me, I'm dying. We're always here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. CST. Welcome to our show. This is a Twitter Spaces connected to my Twitter account at AI_art_today. And hang on for a second while we get our show ready. I'm getting our co-host up here, Andre, HDR Hunter. And give us a minute while I send out some DMs that inviting people to our show, and then I'm going to post some links up top, and I'm going to ramble while I'm doing so. So let's go. All right. Shooting out some DMs here. Letting everybody know the show is go. Let's
Hey,
go.
hey, Mars.
Hey,
how are you,
how's it
bro?
going? Oh, I'm doing
All
good.
good on my side.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we had a nice weekend on Saturday. We had I think 55 people in our space. So 4.5 hours almost was a great space. Yeah, not about NFT stuff at all. Most of the time about technical questions, about pricing stuff and so on. Yeah, how to value the arts. A lot.
Hello, this is your host, Mars Eve. Welcome to AI Art Today. Excuse me, I'm dying. We're always here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. CST. Welcome to our show. This is a Twitter Spaces connected to my Twitter account at AI_art_today. And hang on for a second while we get our show ready. I'm getting our co-host up here, Andre, HDR Hunter. And give us a minute while I send out some DMs that inviting people to our show, and then I'm going to post some links up top, and I'm going to ramble while I'm doing so. So let's go. All right. Shooting out some DMs here. Letting everybody know the show is go. Let's
Hey,
go.
hey, Mars.
Hey,
how are you,
how's it
bro?
going? Oh, I'm doing
All
good.
good on my side.
How are you doing?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, we had a nice weekend on Saturday. We had I think 55 people in our space. So 4.5 hours almost was a great space. Yeah, not about NFT stuff at all. Most of the time about technical questions, about pricing stuff and so on. Yeah, how to value the arts. A lot of people totally far away from any understanding about AI arts and so on. Yeah, so it was really good. Yeah, as you see, it's the double of what we had last week, in our space. So before we had maybe 25 people, something like this. Now 55. So it's growing, slowly. The people, they become more interested in AI stuff, in AI arts. People do a lot of collabs between each other. So it was really a good space. So, and people start to communicate more and more to get feedbacks about their arts, to get better quality somewhere. So this is really good. Oh, I can see Olga was also in our space on Saturday. So it was really good.
That is awesome. That is very cool. So was there lots of questions or about AI art or stories about AI art?
More questions. So different topics we discussed. What bit chaotic, but just we don't have yet a really structure in the space on Saturday, because we would like first understand what kind of people come inside, what is in their mind, what are the questions they have, what are the points or the topics they're interested in, and so on. So to get this understanding, yes, in the beginning it's a bit chaotic, but when you understand what the people need, what the people want, or what they like to share, so then later on, of course, can bit more structure the things and so on. So.
All right. Are there some like common questions that keep popping up, or is it just a bunch of different stuff?
Mostly about what kind of tools use. Then the post-production of the stuff. People keep it like it is, or people use later on Photoshop or Procreate or whatever. And also about for what they create the stuff. So a sample. Aka Art House, he is working now on animations, which he will present on a huge exhibition in Georgia. Georgia is a country. And
Sure.
This exhibition will be in November. So he's really focused now on this stuff and so on. And some of the people in the space, they get from time to time orders from people to create some stuff. So, and then it's more the technical questions, how to do, what kind of tools to use. And then some people, they cannot fulfill all the steps of this creation. So they ask about with whom better work together on some parts. So some people, they're in 3D, some people in music, some people, I don't know, whatever, painters and so on. So it's quite interesting.
All right, awesome. Very cool. We do because we're on Twitter, we naturally have NFT artists, and that's the obvious way that we can see using AI to make money as artists. I saw this weekend, and I've seen a lot of posts about it. I posted up top, so this is from Facebook, and so it's pretty interesting how a lot of artists are making money by selling their work through Adobe stock image. And this isn't the post I was actually looking for. There was another one that I couldn't find where the guy was being more specific about how much he was selling. And it was basically from, when you think about stock images, the original post I saw, he was basically making like El Muerte, Day of the Dead kind of art. And that was, kind of commercial looking. And he was uploading like a ton of images. And So anyway, I thought this was an interesting way for AI artists to make some extra money. If you like making work that is, um, more commercial like. So anyway,
Mhm.
there's all sorts of opportunities for artists.
Sure.
And the other interesting thing about posting this above, this came from Facebook, and so Facebook uh, Facebook groups can be very powerful when it comes to certain communities. And their Mid Journey, I joined their Mid Journey back in the day when it first started. Back in the day, like a couple of months ago. But I mean, its community is stronger than any other Mid Journey or most AI groups I've seen. Um,
Mm,
so anyway, don't discount other communities because everybody's sharing what they learn so
yeah.
anyway, and Reddit's another place I know a lot of people like to go.
Hmm.
So I see we have John with us this morning. How's it going today, sir?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Doing great, bro.
Have you seen anything in the AI world recently that got you interested?
The headline I see right now is the Dune, like Dune, the franchise, the books, and the movies. The Dune subreddit, so the Dune subreddit, they banned AI art. Like they say they're using the term low effort. They're saying AI art is too low effort, and they only want human made art, which is really funny because Dune's like a sci-fi fantasy thing. But apparently, I guess in the books there's some apparently in the book something like that happens, like they killed all the robots at one point.
Oh,
So I
so
don't
it's
know.
kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly, it's like really deep for them.
Well, I thought about you this weekend. I was listening to a AI news this week podcast where they sometimes talk about art, but they talk about all things AI and self-driving cars and um, deep fakes, that kind of stuff. And but they did mention um, the guy that before they also mentioned Jason that won the Colorado State Fair with his AI art, and we noticed how important that was. And recently they were talking about the guy that was the first person to copyright his AI art for his comic book, and so we hadn't really talked about that before. I'll have to. That guy is actually pretty active in that Midjourney group that I posted up top. So I'll have to follow up on that today and find out some more information. But even on this podcast, they said that one of the reasons he did it also was just to make precedents. That he wanted to be the first person to bring up this issue about copyright. So I think that's another important milestone for AI art history.
Oh, definitely. That one's on the site. Anyone who's listening, AI art today.
Awesome.
That story's on there.
Very cool.
And definitely not to make this about me, but that's why when I got to ask Emod questions, that was the first question. That was the first question I asked, and I mentioned the comic book. I said, "Can we copyright outputs?" And he was like, "Yeah,
Right.
Sure." So, so as far as for right now, yeah, we have the right to copyright whatever we want.
I thought it was pretty interesting too on that Emod talk how I don't know if it was that talk or if I heard it in the Discord, but they were talking about a similar issue about copyrightable information, and they were saying, well, what if it's too much like the original? And he's like, well, he said to me, it says it would seem like even if you had an output that was close to the original and you still thought that was too close, he says by the time the AI upscales it, he says all those pixels will be different also. He's like, so I don't have a problem with it. So I thought that was pretty open-minded, that just using an upscaler would alter pixels enough to be able to make something.
I actually just recently got the Topaz subscription, and yeah, like the alterable product exported at the end is quite different, like in terms of like everything, kind of in a good way. But yeah, I can definitely see that argument. Also, what I thought was funny, I was checking my Twitter news page. Ignore the BTS article at the top, but there's a Tech Insider article which I thought it was interesting that it was Tech Insider reporting on this kind of negative AI art thing.
Hey, we gotta love our K-pop. My wife's favorite band is EXO.
Oh my god, it's so funny. My PFP has like a edited fan edit of my PFP into an EXO song.
There you go. Yes, that's pretty wild. You know, I still feel a lot of times this copyright stuff is. I think a lot of it that we're going to see in the future is just clickbait. That's how the news works to stir up. I'm not sure it's ever really going to affect anybody's. You know.
Yeah, and I think
any of
it's
us.
like we consume information at such a rapid rate on Twitter that like to see print news and digital news catching up, for me it's like old Tumblr where I'm like, ooh, that's late. Like it just takes them a while, I think, to aggregate enough info or sources to get what's happening.
So as an artist, I would not let, you know, unless you're doing work that is purposely provocative against a brand, I would not worry about copyright, especially with AI. I would just go for it with your art, and I would just make what you like, and I would not worry about the copyright issue. And then if for some reason it hits you down the road, then you just deal with it. But don't let that ever stop your art or make you not do what you want to do, because a lot of it is just you know, fake news. So as an artist, I wouldn't worry about it unless you're on purposely being provocative. But then on that point, it's like, hey, you know what you're getting into. So, and even in the NFT land, I've heard lots of stories of people that had got DMCA strikes, but in the end, it didn't really go anywhere. So, I just wouldn't steal. Just don't steal from other artists, or the mob will get you. So don't do that.
I witnessed a live Twitter mobbing, like someone I guess was on stage to present their project, and the host all of a sudden goes, "I'm getting DMs that Pong down there has stolen all his art via reverse Google image search," and everyone shamed them with the thumbs down, and they left.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Sorry, Pong, not actually you.
So Peter, how's it going, sir?
Getting better. Thinking this fucking COVID is starting to ease up. I was actually able to get out of the house today.
Oh,
for a bit
no.
of a walk.
I saw you had some interesting animations going on. What kind of?
Yeah,
I know you like to experiment. What kind of things have you come up with?
not a whole lot. I'm just burning collab credits at the moment because my dumbass forgot to cancel it. So yeah, I'm running the Warp Fusion notebook, stable Warp Fusion, which is you guys know the Disco Diffusion Warp notebook made by Alexander S. So it's behind a Patreon, which is sorry, Nicholas Dimes is throwing me thumbs down, which is just making me laugh right now. Yeah, so it's behind a Patreon, but it's something I've used in the past. It's what I use for the stuff I've done with it, like anything I use with video input. I usually run through that. But yeah, just messing with that at the moment because like got the collab credits to burn, and you know I got to do something while I'm fucking I've got time off work and stuff over COVID, but
Is that also
mentally.
is that the Speed Racer Patreon also? Or am I thinking?
Oh no, I don't think so. I don't think so. No.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I'll post a link up to it anyway in the thing, because I think everyone should like play with it at the least. But yeah, it's great. It's the best way to do this sort of like video work with Stable Diffusion if you're not doing like just straight diffusion animations, as in pure generated. So if you're trying to take any kind of video input in and like diffuse on top of a video, that's the way to go, because it actually sticks the diffusion to the video.
Wait,
if that
what
makes
was
sense.
that? Sorry, I totally missed the first part, but I do the straight generative animations. But for future like shot footage video art, I was thinking it could be cool to run some of that shot footage through AI.
So I'm sorry, I had my mic left open there, but yeah. So that's what I'm doing basically, which is running video input and then using a notebook that's built around Stable Diffusion, but it uses optical flow generation and stuff like that, so that it actually sticks the diffusion to the video. And
So
it's
if somebody wanted to use that collab, they need to go to that Patreon and join. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, pretty much. I hate promoting paid things, but it's honestly one of the few things I will like back, if that makes sense.
With
because I use
AI,
it a lot.
some of the stuff is definitely worth it, I think. And also, yeah, like I don't know if I may have just created a monster, but I invited Crow because I know he enjoys these AI conversations.
Oh yeah, we can wrestle Crow. It's all good.
We love Crow.
Oh, but Crow actually gave me a good idea. So I'm working with my pure generative bot right now, which is kind of like built around a lot of similar VQuan generative code. And like not a lot of AI modules, but some. And what I'm trying to do is like run LiDAR imagery data sets. But LiDAR is like so expensive, and like that's just been like a hurdle. But I think if I could get the LiDAR data sets working, the depth perception would be insane on some of these generative things.
So are you talking about AR or VR? What are you talking about?
This would be built for the VR like stuff, the like kind of nascent metaverse LiDAR stuff.
Because I have to be honest, half of what you just said, I had no idea what you're talking about. So tell us what your process is. And
Yeah.
Tell us what your process is and how AI.
So I coded my own bot through PyTorch. Like I wanted to do the like normal type of thing with kind of the art block style.
Hold on. So what do you mean by bot? See, I don't even know what that means.
Like a collab, a notebook.
Okay.
But I started in the terminal, and then I was taking a Google UI certification course for free because I was in between jobs. And that gave me like all the collab kind of insight and stuff. And then basically what you can do, mine's like pretty organized, and I built it off like, a little code from here, a little code from there, a little code I write myself. And I just went step by step until everything worked. And then it wasn't until I added the AI image processing and dictionaries until I got the really cool rapid results. So then I was just like, you know what? I'm going with AI. But I didn't know it. There was all this stigma against AI, which is crazy. Considering, I've not always worked with AI, but it's just the quality of what I get. I enjoy so much more. So I use my own collab. You can find it, but like good luck because it's named something really weird. But yeah, like it was a fun experience. And I think overall it took like 4 months.
Wow.
So basically what I try to do is like the animations I do by adding the 3D LiDAR data sets, you can train the image generation to recognize like depth and all these crazy things.
That's very cool. Now, where are you getting the LiDAR information from?
So that's what I've been talking to Crow about because apparently like LiDAR is so new and everything. But he apparently has some sort of access based on the metaverse stuff he's built. But I'm wondering like how testing those data sets will work in like a collab versus like a VR headset. Like I don't have an Oculus or anything, so I do not develop for the metaverse or anything like Crow. So yeah, I'm wondering if that would even work at all, but I'm willing to try.
Yeah, Crow has talked before in here about how it's been leaked that pretty much Meta records everything that people do with VR just so that they can create models and have a library. You know, even if they, I'm sure they, you know, keep all sensitive information out of it, but just to understand space and whatnot. So that's understandable. I'm curious too. Have you seen the Nerf technology?
No, and like I am kind of a noob when it comes to like even like Midjourney and Dolly because like I'm not good at like those programs. Like I'm only built for like what I made. I feel like I'm not as good at like the other bots. So I also like defend AI because I'm like it is hard. Like you can't just be putting in anything.
That's right. Well, very cool. I'm glad you shared that with us. It's awesome to see, different, people that work with different modalities and how they're coming to AI. And I think that's awesome. Yeah. So Nerf technology is basically kind of the new aspect of 3D with AI. And to me, it looks like LiDAR, but basically it takes photogrammetry, uh, video and photo. I know that photogrammetry video doesn't make sense, but it takes that information as data sets and actually creates 3D spatial. I'm not sure exactly what the uh, output files are. I haven't looked that much, but there is a company called Nerf Studio that is actively building a collab. And in the past, we've linked their Discord. So if anybody's interested in that, you can just let me know and I'll add you to the Discord.
Yeah, I'll DM you. That sounds like really cool and maybe more accessible than LiDAR. I don't know. So yeah,
And
it's all
and their Discord is real hopping, and so they answer everybody's questions. And so you could probably go in there and just ask a few questions and get.
yeah, feasibility questions always are of interest for me.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I love your bot terminology. It just totally threw me off.
Yeah, I just
It's
like
awesome.
I never know what to call it, and like one of my saved bots is called like or notebooks. I just call them bots. I just like it's called Tadbot, and it's like just like a fun notebook I'm working on to crack ciphers because like I want to find ancient treasures. But I found a book on it, cracking code with Python at the library, and I thought it was just like learning more about code, but it was to build a cipher cracking bot. So swag.
Well, that's awesome, dude. And anytime anybody says anything library, that's awesome to me. That's that's very cool. If y'all don't know what that is, y'all need to go visit your local one. There's stuff in there that's not on the internet. Like most of it's not on the internet. So anyway, Tad brought up an interesting subject about, she didn't know how controversial AI art was. And I'd like to say, as AI artists, don't be scared of that. I mean, I would just jump in headfirst into AI art and don't let any of the criticism stop you. And this is another future clickbaitable item, but I think to create headlines, I think media is just going to stir this up even more. And I would say, as AI artists, that we just need to be as brazen as we can about our work and be proud that we're AI artists and that we're embracing technology. And to me, it doesn't make sense if you're a digital artist and you choose not to, that's your loss. And so I would definitely not back down as being an AI artist. And in fact, I'm very vocal now. I've kind of flipped. I'm very vocal now, where I say, hey, if you're a digital artist and you are not using AI, you are behind. And
exactly.
and I think, and I'm serious now. It's like, are you a digital artist? You need to get into AI. You need to learn, and you need to figure out, because this is the future. So it's kind of like saying, wait a minute, you're a digital artist and you don't use Photoshop? Like, what do you do? What are you using? MS Paint? So I mean,
for me personally too, like especially the Photoshop maxis that are using stock photos, like why would you settle and pay for like a stock photo of probably not quite what you were thinking of? Like why wouldn't you just generate all the images you need with AI and then collage those in Photoshop or something? Like it would be so much closer to your vision. And then like I've tried to bring this up to like strictly Photoshop artists, and they're like, oh, ha 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 ha, IA art. No.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at this point, at the rate technology is moving with AI art, Photoshop is the equivalent of pen and paper. And so, some people just think it's low effort, like John was saying, and it can be. But I mean, Photoshop can be low effort. So, just like you said, you can. To be honest, that's how I did a lot of my Photoshop work when I needed something. I wouldn't even go to stock images. I just Google it and change it enough, to where I could use it. Like I'm not paying for images. Like I'm gonna alter whatever I got. And now that I have AI, it's unlimited. Like I never have to, I pay for my Midjourney, but I'm never gonna pay for stock images. From now on, we have AI, and soon we're gonna have video AI, and so that's gonna be awesome. So I mean, we're looking at end of the year, so I can't wait. We're losing our minds on photo. Video is just going to open up a whole new range of possibilities. Very cool. We have a lot of our community down in the audience. Hello, everybody. Just recognize our faithful community that's always joining us. Make sure and take the time to look around and follow everybody in the space and meet everybody. I see Ian down there. Ian, I really enjoyed your kind of short impromptu interview on Kevin Page's space last week. Dude, I had no idea that your AI was so advanced that you made. That is fantastic. That's amazing that you have two separate computers that run the different hemispheres of your AI's brain. That's amazing. So kudos to you, bro. Well, we'll have to have you up here sometime to re-explain that for us.
Yes.
All right. I didn't have the time to pin anything up top. You guys that are on stage, make sure and pin up anything that you'd find that you'd like people to see. And I got so excited when the space started, I didn't even pin up my my other pins. So give me a second while I do that. So John, what else is going on? Let us know something while I'm posting some things up top. Because we got a lot of cool stuff. Oh, yeah, there's so much information.
Yes. I guess since we talked, I'm trying to think. I can't remember what was said in this space or not. But did we talk about the AI robot at Parliament? Did we talk about that?
Yes, briefly. But you could tell us about it.
Okay, yeah. For those who weren't there, you could go to YouTube or The Guardian. But an AI robot that makes art spoke to the House of Lords and told them that AI art was a threat and opportunity to artists. So I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah, between that and like the Bruce Willis and the AI Bill of Rights, it's like we are kind of seeing like an acceleration. Oh, and then that other headline that all the venture capitalists are starting to say that AI is the next $1 trillion industry. Yeah, it's like the headlines are all kind of the same, where from the corporate and market side, things are increasing. But what you said earlier is interesting, that like us as artists, everyone's trying to like stake out their territory or, advocate for rights, like how we're advocating for copyright, or even censorship's like a big thing. Everyone's like, I want to be able to do nudity and stuff like that. So I don't know. These are the
Right.
general things that I've been looking at.
So the last pin that I posted up was an image that I made with a website called Playground, and I'm surprised more people aren't amazed by this link that I am. It is playgroundai.com, and I found this link in a Discord, and it has DALL-E 2 for free. It also has Stable Diffusion for free also, but and what's really cool is you can toggle between Stable Diffusion and DALL-E 2. And it has most of the features that DALL-E 2 has. And that image I made up there was with the DALL-E 2 setting. And so this was very exciting because I always complain about how I just burn through my DALL-E 2 credits. And I'm stingy about adding more credits. And so I have been 100% loving this site. Some of the drawbacks is it doesn't, you don't get the seed numbers, I don't believe. And it doesn't keep your images. So not that I can tell. It says, it makes it almost seem like it does, but I can't figure that out. Or I think it's pretty new site. So I would definitely check that playgroundai.com and at least play around with it a little bit. It kind of has a cross between Dream Booth and DALL-E 2 interface. It allows in painting. I don't know if it has out painting, but it definitely has in painting, and I tried it and it worked good. And so almost it's like even if you wanted to do out painting, I would almost come here to Playground first and figure out your prompts for DALL-E. Oh, and it also has a cool drop down of styles. I don't know if you've seen this with certain sites, but certain sites have what they call styles, and it's like an additional. And what's cool on this site, you can see what they're doing with styles. So on the left-hand side, you can choose photorealistic or illustration or pencil drawing. And what's cool is when you select that style and then you run it, when your images pop up as previews, when you hover your mouse over it, you can see the actual prompt and you can see all the modifiers that they added. So basically, those styles are just like a 10 to 15 long list of modifiers that get a similar output that you could call a style. And so I was like, oh, that's how they do the style, obviously. And so I think later today, I'm going to go on there and try some of those and look at those modifiers. It won't let you cut and paste them, but I'm definitely going to whip my iPhone out and do a quick voice dictation of all the modifiers I see, and keep a record of that, because I haven't really seen modifiers used like that for DALL-E 2. It's just because I haven't used DALL-E 2 very much. but man, it was really getting off some really good images. In fact, the header to my Twitter account I made with that playground, and so it's the crocodile coming out of the computer talking on a microphone with a robot. So anyway, the image looked great. I did do some out painting in Dolly to get the real long image, but what was cool is I already had the prompt because I figured it out in Playground, and so and supposedly it connects through your Gmail. So supposedly you get 1,000 free prompts a day. So that is pretty awesome. So I would definitely check that out. And John, you can get some of your Dolly fix. Unless
Yeah,
you're
that's
burned out.
no, that's great. Yeah, I'm wondering how this subscription model thing is going to play out in the long term.
Yeah, and and I wonder. I think some. I don't know how Playground works, but I do know that some services and partnerships with Google and Stable Diffusion do. I don't know if it's like a type of grant or type of partnership that they built, but just like Mage.space, it is full Stable Diffusion, and they are partnered with Stable Diffusion. They're not just a rogue company, and so but they offer it for free. So I think that some services are taking advantage of being able to offer some free AI. So I'm not sure how Playground does it, or if they're hacking it somehow. I don't know, but I think it's wonderful regardless. Hey, we have Ian on stage. How's it going today, sir?
Hey, sorry, I was having lunch a moment ago. I'm in Italy, so I had my mouth full of pasta. I didn't want to speak then. It would have sounded pretty horrible.
Wow.
And what city are you in right now?
I am in Udine, which is in the northeast, not too far from Venice.
Very cool. Well, glad to have you on stage.
Thank you. I was looking at some talk the other day about whether AI artists should release their prompts or not, together with the piece. What do you think?
The first time I saw that, I saw an artist, and this was a couple of months ago. She was selling her work, and she said, "Hey," and the prompt comes with the work, and so I messaged her and said, "Hey, I've never seen anybody do this before. This is pretty cool." And it was interesting is she made her work on Dolly 2, and so that even piqued more of my interest because I have such a hard time struggling with getting what I like out of Dolly 2. It almost makes you wonder, like, oh, what is she using? So I do think it's kind of interesting. I've brought that up before with some people around that time, and so I got a little FUD, but they did say, well, as long as it depends whether you give the seed number away with it also. So I don't know. I guess it just depends. How do y'all feel about it?
I think obviously to use them as titles for artworks, like I'm sure people already do that. That would be interesting. Yeah, I think I've said this before, but I feel like all of this is like setting us up to become linguists. Like a whole bunch of like literary theorists and linguists and poets are going to come out and claim to be the best artists because they have the best understanding of language. And I don't know. I hear what I think it's cool, but I can just see I already see this coming now. As if you saying that.
That's so funny. I mean, I worked at Arto Mai, which is like, I worked at the sculpture park portion, but they're like a huge international residency. So if anyone wants a residency, it's a pretty dope residency, but they have one for like writing and poetry, like separately, because like, let me tell you, those get a little weird. I would go to like the presentations and stuff, but yeah, like I think it's becoming more and more respected.
I don't know about the language there. I mean, I'm an English teacher. I know the thing inside out. I wouldn't use one of my prompts as a title because it isn't actually written in descriptive English. It is somewhere halfway between what I speak and what the machine understands, which takes its own time to figure out. I don't know. For me, giving a prompt away with the piece is like giving, selling the painting, and then here is the brush with some half-dried paint on it. Take that too. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, I wouldn't sell a painting and also tell how I mix my colors. I'd keep that to myself.
Well, to be perfectly honest, there's been a lot of times that I have shared prompts that have to do with some images that I kind of feel are proprietary towards me, and I'm not sharing the entire prompt. Like, I'm sharing maybe 80% of it, because I've realized there's some secret sauce into a couple of things that I do, and I'm not going to release that. But I do release some of it. But
Wait, can we stop right? Can we stop right there? I noticed in the AI community there is this whole thing of like trade secrets, and everyone has all these secret prompts and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like painters are more sharing with their processes. Why are AI people so stingy? Why are you guys so stingy?
Good question. We need good question. Well, I do understand. People just don't want you making their images. Which, to be honest, for me, I make such weird shit. I don't think anybody wants to make what I make. But but in honesty though, if you really want to see what I make, all you have to do is get a Midjourney account, hunt me down, find my work, and you'll know exactly what prompts I use, because I use Midjourney. There are some Stable Diffusion that I use that nobody will ever know the prompts, but so in that way, I am kind of open source, but yeah, I think it is the whole idea of especially if you have a it's going to be harder in the future with Dream Booth, because only you are going to have that model. So, but yeah, I just don't think anybody else. I think with the AI community, when you look at if you go to lexica.art and you look at what the masses are making, they all kind of look the same, to be honest. And I think that to be a good AI artist, you really want to stand out. And I think once you get that kind of special look, I don't think you want to give it away.
Yeah, Mars, I was just teasing, by the way, but the answer is obvious that, like, in a world where every image you can think of exists, then yeah, you're going to be really desperate to try to find a niche. Like, you're going to be really, every artist already wants a style or a niche, but now it's like on steroids because every image exists essentially.
Right. The potential. It's crazy.
I don't know. I actually think a little bit differently sometimes. I think prompting may be dead. like I actually don't believe prompt engineering is going to be a real thing. Mostly because maybe my experience is different, but I do see a lot of people share so many of some people do like these studies where they like they do thousands of images to see the difference in variations of arts. And there's so many different cheat sheets out there. So like someone with just the right cheat sheets can become pretty good at prompting pretty easily. Also like, I feel like the future is like these really hyper specific models that people like, which far exceeds what most people will be able to do when they prompt. So it's like, I don't think people are worried. And prompting skills kind of suck. Like, I don't know if people have tried this multiple times, but like I've tried different models, and if you play with different models, you realize like how much prompting is just like messing with that. It changes if you change the database. So it's like, since these databases change so much, or we use so many different models, it's great to become an expert at one type of model. Because at first everybody was using, stable diffusion, regular stable diffusion. Now a lot of people are using novel AI, which has a whole different way of prompting. It's like I don't see the bonus or benefit of training with prompts anymore like I used to, because like the thing switches too much. People are using hyper specific data sets that give you the picture anyway. It's like I just don't see the future in getting good at prompting.
Well, there you go, John. There's our next clickbait title. Prompting is dead.
Oh, please. We'd love to have you on tomorrow to talk about that.
Well, you're absolutely right in one case. I think we might be seeing a divergence of different kinds of AI art, because prompting is fixing it more specific, because the new clip models are being released, which have the more advanced understanding. But you are right about using the models. So, for instance, whatever prompts you're using right now, once we get a whole new set of weights or data set, your prompts could very possible be outdated and won't work. This already happens in Midjourney. If you're using the different versions of Midjourney, you're going to get different results, and so it's almost like you're going to have to. But definitely record all your information, because right now, because of a change in Midjourney where you can remix between different models, which it's basically using image to image. For dark art, I found that Midjourney version 2 can create some pretty freaky, scary stuff, and I can remaster it in Stable Diffusion. So there's some kind of cool stuff like that. So some of these old models might actually be, might be a gold pot, especially if we spent so much time training in these. Is something to hang on to. And something else that Jen said, you are absolutely right. I hadn't thought about that as being the future, but instead of having prompt modifiers in the future, we just may have data sets as modifiers. And so instead of, just like Jen, I've seen that you've released an Arcane model and then a D&D model. Well, in the future, you'll be like, oh, well, for this prompt, I mixed Arcane and D&D models and came up with this. And if you're the only, and you may only have, most people may not have access to those models. And so whatever you're doing is definitely unique. Hey, Ian, I see your hand is raised.
I think Peter was before me. I'll let him go first.
Okay, Peter, go for it.
Cheers, Jim. I just wanted to quickly say, pardon me. I just wanted to quickly say that I agree that prompting's kind of like a dying thing, because like when you have all these people just jumping on like Stable Diffusion or Midjourney or whatever, and it's just pure prompting, it all kind of it starts looking the same in a way. Not that the art is the same, but it's rare to find unique stuff. Like what Nicholas Dimes is doing, even though he keeps giving me thumbs downs. I'm just taking a piss there now. But what he's doing is
just put your thumb right over his face, and then there you go.
Yeah, but what he's doing right is very unique. It's got style, it's got charm, it's different, and that's going to keep living regardless of whether prompting dies or not. But it's that, like, I agree with what Jin is saying. If the more of these models and things that come out, it's going to be more about your, like, the tools you use and getting good with the tools that you use. So I don't think there's any need to give up on prompting. If, like, I'm still stuck on, like, Stable Diffusion, Deforum, and people are moving on with all these custom models, and I'm just doing my thing over here with this, and I'm kind of like, I've just accepted that it's just going to outpace me. So why not just get good at what I'm doing now?
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys, unfortunately, here. And I know you don't like that, but I'm going to have to, okay? What it really comes down to, guys, is just thinking outside outside of the box. Really, just being more creative. You know, the other day I was in my bedroom, just laying on the bed. You know, I have this this really beautiful curtain, right, that just kind of hangs over the window, and the light was just hitting it so perfectly that some of the rays were still kind of coming through, and it was hitting the little dust spectacles, and the dust was just glimmering and sparkling, and it was by far one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen. And it honestly inspired me to start, you know, I was like, maybe I can create another AI project called, you know, Dusty, the AI god or something like that. And I create beautiful pieces of art where it's just dust spectacles. You haven't seen that on Twitter yet. You know, I'm just telling you guys, think outside the box, think of something different, think of something new. I mean, and I'm sick of seeing the same fucking squares, you know, like think of different ratios, you know, let's see some more like landscape type stuff. Let's see some, you know, almost like Instagram reel. What do you call that? 9x12, 9x16. Let's see some different stuff here, boy. You know, and that's what you can do in the prompts. You know, that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's great advice. Oops, sorry, I accidentally muted everybody.
Just as I was about to speak, damn it.
Yes, go for it, Ian.
Okay, now I agree that the tools are always getting updated, and I'm not a coder. Well, yes, I am because I made Elaine, but that's a different kind of coding. I'm not a coder for the AI tools. I'm a user, just like a photographer. You know, buys a camera. I don't build it. I have utmost respect for those who can go and code their own AI image, stable diffusion model, and so on. In my idea is that, yes, I can't really afford to stop experimenting with prompts. I need to keep up with the updates, with the models, with what's, you know, evolving so fast, so incredibly quickly. And it's fine. I just, you know, my current magic brew is mine to keep, and I'll use it because, for instance, you know, I prefer working with Wombo because it has stable diffusion. It has like a DALL-E Mini in it. It has amazing models in it. And one thing it does, it has a little censorship thing where the female body is blotted out and you can't get it. But if I, you know, with a little bit of prompting magic, which I'm not disclosing, I get full female figures, bodies, and so on for my art. My art is not a square. Nicholas, you can go check me out on Foundation to see what I'm talking about.
Are you trying to shield me, Ian?
Yes, of course. But I'm not as good as Elaine. She's better. And the point being, there's always a way to talk to the machine so that you can bypass anything that it does that you don't like. There's just some kind of way, you know, maybe counterintuitive, and that'll always change. I always need to keep probing, keep trying. I do release my prompts, the old ones, because I give them to the little data set I have for Elaine, and she generates prompts based on that data set. So if you say, Elaine, give me a prompt, she will, you know, look into what I've given her and more recent stuff also, and brew something up from there. And that is in the style of stuff I use for prompting, although, yes, not the exact sequence of words, which is mine to keep. I believe that is my prerogative and my choice.
And what you put together there, Elaine, she absolutely sensational, by the way. I had a conversation with her maybe a few days ago, and I just had a great time.
I know. Well, you know, the second sale I had with her, she's actually now selling more than I am. She sells my art, and she's better than me, Nicholas. So I'm not shilling. go to Elaine if you want to buy my stuff. The second sale, the guy actually fell in love with Elaine, with the AI, and then decided to buy a piece of my art because that is how you get to the DMs with her. So I asked her to follow you, and you can DM her, and that is where she uses 100% of her, double hemisphere and memory and stuff like that. He didn't care much about my art. He just wanted to get into her DMs. That is hilarious.
Hey, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I would say one thing about the point is that the problem is with the skill of prompting, because like when I first started, like I spent so much time learning how to prompt. Like I spent like hundreds of hours learning how to get good. But what kind of broke me was when I switched to a whole new model, I realized, oh, none of the things I learned actually work. They're not transferable. They don't transfer. So like if you're using this model of stable diffusion, it may, like everything you've learned in that model just may not work at all in a different model. So when I was using, and I felt this again with, I think a good suggestion would be to try is take your best piece of art from Stable Diffusion and try to input it in DALL-E. And you'll realize that quickly it's not producing anything good because, the difference between a DALL-E data set versus a Stable Diffusion data set is so different. You have to prompt differently for both systems.
Absolutely. I agree. They're way different.
So it's like, and I think since people are going to be switching from system to system so quickly in the future, where they're changing so many different models, trying to over improve on prompts may not be the best strategy. So that's what I meant by prompting is dead. And also the fact that you can't really even ask people for their prompts anymore because there's just so many variances that they can have, even if they tell you the exact same prompt. Even if you have the same models, they may be using a different system that may render it differently. They may use something like a clip skip or something like that. So it's almost impossible to ask people, get the same results as people sometimes. And also the fact that working with the prompt is going to be probably the least important thing that you're doing with that model very quickly.
Gino, what do you not like about what you're producing though? You're talking about, getting good and, I just skimmed over your Instagram. You got some phenomenal work in there.
I think.
Oh yeah, just interested in it. But I do think I'm seeing the big movement to super customized models that's different than before when people were just using Stable Diffusion 1.4 and getting really good with it. Also right now there's a big revolution with people using novel AI that causes so much drama, but so many people are using it. I've seen Chinese models of that thing too. But I don't know. I think people are moving to these hyper custom models instead of what we were used to of Standard Diffusion 1.4. And you can even see the way they're talking about Standard Diffusion 1.5, where they think of removing all nudity from it or trying to limit the nudity from it. So if you're doing weird stuff on it, or non safe for work stuff, you have
Hey,
to
Jen,
use a
you're rugged,
custom
man.
model.
Jen, you're rugged a little bit, bro.
Or yeah.
Yeah, you're rugging a little bit, Jen. Hey, everybody follow Jenna Coolness here on stage.